It all began with a feeling, a small, unsettling whisper in the back of Rachel Turner's mind that something wasn't right, though she couldn't explain why. Rachel, a quiet schoolteacher from Ohio with a gentle smile and a heart that trusted too easily, had lived most of her life believing the best in people. She believed in kindness, in loyalty, and in the power of friendship. And above all, she believed in Mia Collins, her best friend of 12 years, the woman she loved like a sister. Mia was everything Rachel wasn't: bold, magnetic, fearless. A woman who laughed too loudly, lived too freely, and never apologized for being the brightest flame in any room. They had met in college, two young women trying to find their place in a world that often felt too big, too fast, too heavy. In each other, they found shelter. Rachel brought calm into Mia's chaotic life, and Mia brought adventure into Rachel's quiet world. Together, they were unstoppable. Rachel believed she knew everything about Mia until the day she discovered she knew nothing at all. It started with small things Rachel brushed off as unimportant. The late-night calls Mia always took outside, whispering words Rachel couldn't make out. "Just work stuff," Mia would say with a dismissive shrug, even though her marketing job didn't require 2 a.m. conversations. Then came the mysteriously long errands, sudden weekend trips Mia never mentioned, the black duffel bag she always kept in her trunk, and the envelope of cash that once slipped out of her jacket. When Rachel had gently asked about it, Mia had laughed, too quickly, too easily, and said it was tip money from some extra project. But Rachel knew Mia wasn't telling the truth. She felt it, a sinking heaviness in her stomach that told her something was very wrong. Still, Rachel ignored the signs. Because when you love someone deeply, you don't go looking for reasons not to trust them. You tell yourself stories. Maybe she's stressed. Maybe she's embarrassed. Maybe she just needs time. Rachel wanted to believe all of that. So she stayed silent, and her silence gave Mia more room to keep hiding whatever she was hiding. But everything changed on a cold Tuesday morning when there was a heavy knock on her door. 3 sharp taps. Not the kind a neighbor makes. The kind that makes your heart drop. Rachel opened the door to find 2 strangers, serious faces, badges raised, eyes that held no warmth. "Rachel Turner?" one asked. "Yes," she whispered. "We need to talk to you about Mia Collins." In that moment, the world stopped. A chill crawled down her spine as the agent stepped inside, closing the door quietly behind them. Rachel expected an accident, a disappearance, something terrible that had happened to Mia. Instead, she heard the words that shattered her world. "Mia Collins is wanted for multiple federal crimes," the agent said. Rachel blinked, shaking her head with a nervous laugh. No, Mia would never. But the agent cut her off. "We have evidence she's involved in identity theft, interstate fraud, and money laundering." The room spun. The breath left her lungs. Identity theft, fraud, money laundering. The Mia she knew would never hurt anyone. The Mia she knew cried at sad movies and rescued abandoned kittens and promised Rachel they would grow old together, sitting on a porch somewhere, laughing at their younger selves. But suddenly, all the moments Rachel ignored, the disappearances, the cash, the late-night calls, made sense in a way she didn't want them to. "Have you seen anything suspicious?" the agent asked. And in that moment, Rachel felt something inside her break. She wasn't ready to betray Mia. She wasn't ready to believe the worst. So she lied. "No," she whispered. "Nothing." The agents exchanged a look she didn't fully understand, part disappointment, part certainty, and handed her a card. "If you remember anything, call us." When they left, Rachel sank onto the floor, shaking, hugging her knees like a child. Tears blurred her vision. She felt foolish, heartbroken, betrayed by the one person she trusted most. But she still wasn't ready to accept it. She tried calling Mia again and again, but Mia didn't answer. Hours passed before she finally replied with a casual, cold text. "Busy. Talk later. That was the moment Rachel's world truly cracked. Mia wasn't scared. She wasn't confused. She wasn't innocent. She was running. And she was using Rachel, her safe place, her loyal friend, to stay one step ahead. Rachel cried until her body had no tears left. She replayed every memory, every laugh, every promise, every late-night confession. Was all of it a lie? Or had she lost her friend to something darker, something bigger, something she couldn't save her from? But the more Rachel thought, the more one truth rose to the surface. If she didn't stop Mia, more people would be hurt. Innocent people. People who didn't deserve to have their lives ripped apart by fraud and theft. Rachel looked at a photo of the two of them, taken years earlier, arms wrapped around each other, eyes bright with love and trust. She felt her heart twist painfully. She still loved Mia. She couldn't help it, but she loved what was right more. And helping Mia escape justice was wrong, no matter how much it hurt. She stared at the FBI agent's card for a long time, her fingers trembling. Her voice cracked when she finally picked up the phone. "I'm ready to talk," she whispered. It was the hardest sentence she had ever spoken. The moment she hung up, Rachel felt something shift inside her. Fear, grief, strength, all at once. She didn't know what would happen next. She didn't know how deeply Mia's crimes went. But she knew one thing. The truth was here, and she could no longer run from it. And that single choice, to step forward, would change everything. When Rachel agreed to talk, she didn't know she was stepping into a world where every word mattered, where every memory she shared would be dissected, analyzed, and used to build a case against the person she once trusted more than anyone. The next morning, she sat in a small federal office surrounded by cold gray walls and the soft hum of fluorescent lights. Her hands trembled as she held a styrofoam cup of untouched coffee. Across from her sat two agents, the same ones who had visited her home, watching her with a kind of patient intensity that made her feel exposed. "We're not here to punish you," the agent said softly. "We just want the truth. Anything you remember. Any detail that felt off." Rachel swallowed hard. Her throat felt tight, her chest heavy. She didn't want to betray Mia. She didn't want to become the person who handed her best friend over to federal authorities. But she also couldn't lie anymore. So she began talking, quietly at first, then slowly opening up about the late-night phone calls, the sudden trips, the unexplained cash, the strangers who greeted Mia with names Rachel had never heard before. And as she spoke, she watched something change in the agents' faces. Not surprise, but confirmation. As if they already knew. As if everything Rachel said simply filled in missing pieces of a puzzle they'd been trying to complete for months. When she finished, the room fell silent. Rachel's heart pounded in her ears. She felt exposed, raw, guilty, like she'd just torn apart a piece of her own soul. And then the agent slid a folder toward her. "Rachel, there's something you need to see." Inside were photos, documents, evidence. And then, the one thing that made Rachel's breath freeze in her lungs, a surveillance photo of Mia meeting with a man in a parking garage, exchanging a thick envelope Rachel didn't have to open to know what was inside. Cash. More cash than Rachel had ever seen. It was dated 3 months earlier, the same weekend Mia claimed she was visiting her sick cousin. Rachel stared at the image, her vision blurring with tears. She wanted to believe there was an explanation, a misunderstanding, anything other than the obvious truth staring back at her. But the evidence didn't lie. Mia did, and she had been doing it for a long, long time. The agent's voice was gentle, almost sympathetic, as he explained the full scope of Mia's crimes. Identity theft rings, fake accounts, stolen credit profiles, victims across 4 different states. "She's been living under 3 different aliases," he said quietly. "We believe she's laundering money for a larger organization. Rachel, this is serious." Rachel closed her eyes as a wave of nausea washed over her. Why didn't she tell me? She whispered, though she knew no one in that room could answer. Mia had been living a double life, a life built on lies and danger, and she had kept Rachel, sweet, trusting, harmless Rachel, completely in the dark. But the worst part wasn't the crimes. It wasn't the lies. It was the realization that Mia had used her home as a safe address, used her schedule to create alibis, used her silence to hide. Feelings of betrayal twisted in Rachel's chest like a knife. And then the agent said the words that changed everything. Rachel, we believe Mia may come to you next. She trusts you. If she runs, she'll come to you for help. Rachel's heart dropped, because she knew it was true. Whenever Mia was in trouble, she ran to Rachel. And now, she was in the deepest trouble of her life. The agents asked Rachel for something she never imagined she would be asked to do, help them catch Mia. They didn't need her to lie or manipulate. They just needed her to keep her phone on, stay available, and report immediately if Mia contacted her. You're the only person she won't suspect, the agent said. And that sentence hurt more than anything else. Being trusted made her feel sick, because she wasn't protecting Mia anymore. She was helping bring her down. But the alternative, letting Mia vanish, letting her continue hurting innocent families, felt even worse. That night, Rachel went home feeling like a ghost in her own life. She sat in her living room in the dark, hands folded in her lap, staring at the door as if expecting Mia to walk through it at any moment. Her phone lay on the table beside her, screen dark, silent. Every second stretched into an hour as she waited for a message, a call, anything. And just when she began to think Mia might never reach out, her phone buzzed. A single text. From Mia. Rach, I need to see you. Please. Rachel's breath caught. Her fingers trembled so violently she could barely hold the phone. 1,000 thoughts raced through her mind. Fear, heartbreak, dread, anger. But she typed back, choosing her words carefully. Where are you? Mia didn't answer immediately. Minutes crawled by. Then finally, not safe to say, can I come over? Rachel felt her heart slam against her ribs. Mia wanted to come to her apartment, the very place the FBI assumed she might run to. Rachel stood up, pacing the room, her hands in her hair. She felt torn in half. Part of her wanted to scream at Mia, demand answers, confess everything she knew. Another part wanted to hold her, protect her, save her from whatever darkness she had fallen into. But the heaviest part of her, the part that had been wounded by betrayal, knew she couldn't protect Mia from justice. Not anymore. She typed slowly, carefully. Yes. Come. Then she put her phone down, her knees nearly giving out from the weight of what she just agreed to. She was helping the FBI catch her best friend, and she hated herself for it. Within minutes, Rachel called the agents and whispered the words she never thought she would say. She's coming. Good, the agent answered. Do not confront her. Do not question her. Just keep her talking. We'll handle the rest. After the call, Rachel sat on her couch, shaking, listening to the loud, echoing beat of her own heart. Every creak of the building made her jump. Every distant car made her stomach twist. And then, around midnight, there was another knock. Soft. Familiar. The kind of knock only someone who knows you well would use. Rachel froze. Her breath caught in her throat. Slowly, she stood and walked to the door, her hands trembling as she reached for the handle. When she opened it, there stood Mia. But not the Mia Rachel remembered. Not the confident, bold, fearless woman she'd always known. This Mia looked exhausted, frail and terrified. Her clothes were wrinkled, her hair tangled, her eyes red from either tears or lack of sleep. She stepped inside without waiting to be invited, locking the door behind her as if she were running from a monster. Rach, she whispered, her voice cracking. I didn't know where else to go. Rachel stared at her, a storm of emotions swirling inside her: love, anger, pity, betrayal, grief. Mia reached for her, her hands cold. "You believe me, right?" she pleaded. "You believe I didn't do what they're saying?" And in that moment, Rachel realized this was the hardest test of her life, not turning Mia in, but looking her in the eyes and pretending she didn't already know the truth. Rachel felt her throat tighten as Mia stood before her, trembling like a shadow of the woman she used to be. It hurt to look at her, hurt in a way Rachel wasn't prepared for. Because despite everything she had learned, despite the evidence, despite the FBI waiting outside in unmarked cars, Mia was still her best friend. Still the girl who held her during heartbreaks, who made her laugh on her worst days, who once swore they'd be in each other's lives forever. And now here she was, desperate, frightened, and begging for belief she no longer deserved. Rachel forced herself to stay calm, to keep her voice steady, to swallow the storm of emotions twisting violently inside her chest. "Tell me what's going on," she whispered, though she already knew more than Mia realized. Mia collapsed onto the couch, burying her face in her hands as she tried to steady her breathing. "They're lying about me, Ratch," she said, her voice shaking. "Those agents, they're after the wrong person. They think I'm involved in things I'm not. You know me. You know I'd never hurt anyone." Rachel stood still, her fingers gripping the back of a chair so tightly her knuckles turned white. She felt torn between wanting to comfort Mia and wanting to scream. She chose neither. "What things, Mia?" she asked quietly. Mia hesitated, her eyes darting away, guilt flickering across her expression like a crack in her mask. "Just stupid stuff. Money stuff. I got involved with people I shouldn't have, but I swear I didn't know what they were doing. Not at first." Rachel's heart dropped. Not at first. That meant eventually, she did know. And she stayed anyway. "Why didn't you tell me?" Rachel whispered. Mia's shoulders slumped. Tears gathered in her eyes. "Because I didn't want you to look at me the way you're looking right now." Those words sliced Rachel open. She felt tears burning behind her eyes, but she blinked them back. She couldn't break. Not now. Mia kept talking, her words tumbling out in a frantic rush. "I thought I could get out before things got bad. I thought I could fix it. But then everything got out of control. They threatened me, Ratch. They threatened my family. I didn't know what to do." Rachel stepped closer. "Mia, what exactly did you do?" Mia froze. Her lips parted, but no sound came out at first. Finally, she whispered, "I stole identities. I moved money. I helped them hide it. I didn't mean for it to get this big, but once I was in, I couldn't get out." It was the truth. Rachel could feel it, heavy and suffocating. Mia's confession was like a knife, twisting deeper with every word. Rachel pressed a hand to her mouth, fighting back the heartbreak rising inside her. She had hoped desperately, that Mia would say the FBI was wrong, that she was innocent, that this was all a misunderstanding. But now the truth stood in the room like a ghost neither of them could ignore. "I'm so sorry," Mia whispered, sobbing openly now. "But you're the only person I can trust. I need your help. I need somewhere to hide until I figure out what to do." The words hit Rachel like a punch to the gut. Somewhere to hide. That's why Mia came. Not for forgiveness. Not for comfort. But because she needed Rachel to protect her again. To lie for her again. To hide her crimes again. Rachel's eyes flicked toward the door, imagining the FBI outside, waiting for the signal. A wave of guilt washed over her. She felt like a traitor, a liar, a horrible friend. But she also knew she couldn't protect Mia from the consequences of her own choices. "What do you want me to do?" Rachel whispered softly. She needed Mia to keep talking. The agents had told her to keep her calm, keep her inside, keep her away from escape routes. Mia stood up, pacing frantically. "I just need a day or two. Maybe 3. I have cash. I can pay you back later. I just need to disappear for a while. Rachel's stomach twisted. Disappear. That's what criminals do when justice is closing in. Mia, running won't solve anything, she said quietly. Mia spun around, her expression snapping from panic to anger. Easy for you to say. You don't know what they'll do to me in prison. Those people I worked with, they'll come after me. I'm safer on the run. Rachel took a slow step forward, her voice gentle. Then tell them the truth. Turn yourself in. Maybe they can protect you. I can't, Mia shouted, her voice cracking from fear. They'll kill me, Rachel. You don't understand. Rachel felt tears build again. Hearing Mia, so terrified, made her chest ache, but it didn't erase the truth. It didn't erase the victims whose lives she had destroyed. It didn't erase the laws she had broken. And as Mia continued pacing, Rachel quietly sent a signal, 3 slow taps against her phone. The alert the FBI told her to use. They were coming. Soon. Rachel tried to steady her breathing as guilt crashed over her like a wave. She looked at Mia, really looked at her. She saw the friend she once loved buried under fear and lies, but still there, somewhere. Mia, Rachel whispered softly, stepping closer. Why didn't you trust me? We could have figured this out together. Mia stopped moving. Her face crumpled with pain. Because I didn't want you to hate me. Rachel felt a tear escape. I don't hate you, she said honestly. I'm hurt, and scared, and heartbroken. But I don't hate you. Mia's lip trembled. She stepped forward, gripping Rachel's hands with cold, shaking fingers. Please don't leave me. Please. You're all I have left. Rachel's heart shattered. She squeezed Mia's hands gently. I'm here, she whispered. I'm not leaving. And then, 3 loud knocks echoed through the apartment hallway. Not gentle. Not familiar. The kind that stopped hearts. Mia's eyes widened in terror. Oh God, they found me. Rachel swallowed hard, her pulse pounding. She knew what came next. She knew what she had done. And she knew Mia would realize it too. Mia backed away, shaking, her voice breaking. Rachel, what did you do? Tears streamed down Rachel's face as she whispered the words that would haunt her forever. I'm sorry. The door burst open. Agents flooded the room. And everything, every memory, every promise, every piece of their friendship shattered in an instant. The days that followed were a blur of fear, confusion, and a strange, cold silence between Emily and Madison, as if both women were walking on a thin layer of ice that could crack at any moment. Emily tried to act normal around her, tried to smile the way she always did, tried to laugh at Madison's jokes the way she used to, but something inside her had shifted. Her trust, her innocence, her belief in the girl she once thought she knew better than anyone. Every time Madison's phone buzzed, Emily's heart tightened. Every time Madison stepped outside to take a call, Emily felt the weight of the FBI listening through her hidden mic. And every night, she replayed the same haunting question. What if I'm wrong? What if she really isn't dangerous? What if I'm betraying the only person who ever cared about me? But then she would remember the truth. The files, the evidence, the victims whose names she had seen, the stolen identities, the wiped accounts, the families ruined, the trail of destruction Madison had walked through without remorse. The FBI kept checking in, coaching her gently but firmly. Don't rush. Don't push. Don't make her suspicious. Your job is to just let her talk. But Emily hated every second of it. It felt like she was dragging her friend into a shadow she couldn't climb out of. The guilt clung to her like a heavy coat she couldn't remove. Meanwhile, Madison's behavior grew stranger. She stopped sleeping much, paced around the house at night, double-checked locks, closed blinds, shredded mail, and stared at Emily with unpredictable bursts of warmth and sudden coldness that made Emily feel like Madison was trying to look inside her mind. One afternoon, Madison asked, too calmly, "You've been acting weird, Em. Everything okay?" And Emily froze, feeling her pulse explode in her throat. She lied. Too quickly, too softly, and Madison's eyes narrowed, a sharp flicker of suspicion passing through them like a knife's shadow. Later that night, as Emily lay in bed pretending to sleep, Madison stood in her doorway for a few minutes just watching. The sound of her breathing lingered, heavy and unsettling, as though she was trying to decide something. When Madison finally walked away, Emily's entire body trembled. She was in danger, and she knew it now, not in theory, not because the FBI said so, but because she had seen something dark and unrecognizable in the eyes of the person she once believed would never hurt her. Days later, Madison dropped another bombshell. She said she was leaving town soon, maybe just for a little while, maybe longer, and she wanted Emily to come with her. A spontaneous trip, she called it. A girl's getaway. A chance to disconnect from everything and everyone. But Emily knew exactly what it meant. Madison was planning to run. And if Emily went with her, there was no guarantee the FBI would get to her in time. She could disappear too, either as a hostage or a liability. That night, Emily sent a coded message to the FBI. She's planning to leave soon. The reply came instantly. Don't get in the car. Stall her. Keep her safe. We move soon. But Emily didn't feel safe. Not with Madison pacing the hallway, not with the packed bag she saw in the living room, not with the cold glimmer in Madison's eyes that seemed to say she knew something wasn't right. Emily lay awake, heart pounding, knowing that the next morning could either bring freedom or the moment everything finally exploded.